Well, it's been a long time since I made my last boxing video. And this time I wanted to talk about what Floyd Mayweather said about Conor McGregor. Um, this guy, I don't know what's wrong with him. He obviously has some kind of complex, some kind of inferiority complex. Despite, winning all those 49 fights and being several times world champion and making like 10 times more money than most other boxers ever did. He just still isn't satisfied if anybody else is getting the spotlight in the fighting world, as much spotlight as he, and especially if that somebody isn't black. Apparently, he just has some kind of problem with, he says, because he now made some comments about Conor McGregor, and he said, I quote, he talks a lot trash and people praise him for it, but when I did it, they say I'm cocky and arrogant, so biased. And then he says, I ain't racist at all, but I'm telling you, racism still exists. And, you know, I can't recall a single time when Floyd didn't really, get away with his trash talking. Obviously, it was only when he was a guest in he was in a few TV programs that he was confronted, but that wasn't really, he was just. It was a healthy debate where this guy, this journalist, owned him, badly when Floyd was trying to say, accuse I think Manny Pacquiao of not fighting the best, and also Shane Mosley and stuff like that, and he just got, very aggressive and defensive. I think to say something like that about McGregor, it shows how jealous he is really of somebody else, a guy like him from Ireland, from Europe, coming to USA now, just kicking ass and making money, and now he's also won a world title. And he hates to see that because he thinks just because if somebody is white that he's automatically privileged in America and that he has a better chance of succeeding, and that everybody likes him more than a black guy. And Conor McGregor is not from USA, of course. I think he just needs. I think he was, sympathetic towards Ronda Rousey when she lost, and that's just because she's a woman. They don't really view women as their rivals. These guys like Mayweather is the man, and like David Carroll said in his excellent video, one of them, he said that these guys, they don't hate white women, they hate white men. And it's so obvious, that I don't think he hates every white man on earth, but he certainly doesn't like those who are very popular and successful in this business, in the fighting business. So, and it's not just whites, it's also as everybody knows, he has made comments about Jeremy Lin, a Chinese American basketball player. And that those comments were obviously full of just pure ignorance and some kind of jealousy. Even like he said that there are so many black guys in the NBA that play as well as he does, but they don't get as much credit. And even with all these great African American basketballers who get all the credit and all the money and everything, all the spotlight, he just couldn't, he just couldn't give Lin this credit. He couldn't let him, just admit that he was good, and that's why he is famous. And that's the same thing with Conor McGregor, because McGregor, I think some kind of a part of jealousy may lay in the fact that McGregor is very crowd friendly. I mean, he's a crowd pleaser, and Mayweather was not. He was just a defensive fighter who always looked, to defend himself and get away from the fight with his unbeaten record intact, and just to earn more money, and that was all he was interested in. I mean, people have criticized Bernard Hopkins for doing much the same, but at least he has been in quite many good fights. He didn't just defend himself, do this and use the elbows. He also attacked quite a lot. So, and let's see what else he says. There was a part about where he compared Ronda Rousey with Laila Ali, but that's not, yeah. Anyway, he is just obsessed with this racial thing, with his perceived inequality, in USA between black and white athletes or actors, or even perhaps musicians. He always spills into those other two categories, and I don't know. There has been, if nobody else seems to be bothered, like people like Hopkins, like Timothy Bradley, or Keith. Yeah, and Antonio Tarver, and they are also very strongly opinionated guys. And James Stoney. Nobody else has said anything about McGregor, like in this kind of tone, in this kind of direction. So it's obvious this guy really just suffers from some kind of inferiority complex, despite having all the money, all the titles, and all the fame. And that's sad. That's really sad. Despite I don't like him, but I also pity him, because he has also had a really strained relationship with his father, and that's not easy, of course. Yeah, but he has always had problems with people who are accepting that others are just as popular or successful as him in boxing. When he fought De La Hoya, he was really rude and nasty towards him most of the time before the fight, and after the fight, of course, then when he beat him, he was like all nice and hugging him. You are a great fighter, you are a good guy. But if he had lost, I don't know if he had been that generous, of course. I don't think so. So, what's wrong with this guy? He really needs to go to a shrink soon, and as soon as possible. Please, Floyd, get some help.